Welcome back to F1 2004, second race of the season. We're starting in 13th position. Look to the lights out and away we go. Unfortunately a bad start here in Malaysia, losing positions to Sato and Schumacher straight away. We've got Bruni right behind us as well as we go into turn 1. And a little bit of smoke coming out the front brakes as we tried to get past Schumacher on the outside. It didn't work out. Bruni gets past in the Minardi, then the Jordan comes alongside as well. But we get back up into 16th position here on lap 1. It's close, but we've just about managed to do it, so that's good. So on to lap number 2, you can see we've moved up to 15th position. I think a car pulled into the pits or someone retired off screen. I couldn't see what happened there, but we gained a position there and then lose one here to the Jordan once again. It's our old friend Pantano who is doing a good job in that Jordan, to be fair. He should be right at the back of the grid, but nonetheless. Into turn 1 on the brakes, we can look down the inside and we get back past him, which is good. And now Michael Schumacher and Sato aren't too far ahead, but you know, we had a better qualifying, so I was expecting to go forward in the race just like we did in Australia, but if anything, we're falling back in these early stages here, so that was a bit frustrating. Later on in lap 3, we do manage to close up on this sort of group of 3 as they're making mistakes, and Michael Schumacher, who remember won the championship in 2004 by a significant margin. We get past him around the outside fairly, but then we go off track and Sato definitely overtake him illegally. So what I decided to do is give the position back to Sato. I thought I kind of got the move on Schumacher done by that point, but Sato I definitely overtook illegally, so I let him back through. A bit unfortunate to go off the track there, but I thought the best thing to do was just let one of them back through at least. I think it's dubious, but possibly I kind of got past Schumacher kind of fairly. You can debate in the comments, but you know, that's what I thought in the heat of the moment. Possibly not quite the right call, but nonetheless, into 14th position again as Sato locks up his brakes or something happens. I don't know where his car blows up. I think it was just a mistake, a possible lock-up of the brakes. So now on to lap number 6. You can see we're getting through this race quite quickly, but we're not really making too much of this as we lock up. Sato goes through again. You can see he was really just sort of right behind us for this whole time. He wasn't letting us breathe, and even though that was a better lap from us, still not particularly great. I was still making mistakes on a lot of these laps, but we were down the inside of Sato into turn 1. He left us the space and we were quite deep on the brakes. We make that one work, and now we're trying to get past Bruni right away in his Minardi. This order is so mixed up. I mean, Alonso 11th, Schumacher 15th is mental. You know, Schumacher behind a Minardi just wouldn't have happened in 2004, so it's kind of odd because the Jordans are kind of always outside the top 10. Okay, nice move there, ish on Bruni, but it's just a bit random. Like the Jordans, as I say, are always kind of out the points. But then you've got my teammate Panis in this race, once again he's right near the front of the grid. And then you've got the likes of Alonso out the point, you know, Schumacher way out the points, one of the last cars running. It's kind of mental, but I guess it kind of keeps it interesting in the early stages of the season, just the randomness of this little championship season that I've created here. So you can see my lap times have started to come down a little bit, but I'm starting to chase Alonso here. You can see Sato still right behind me, only 0.6 of a second, but I think I'm strong in this sort of sequence here, this sort of left and then right. I'm not doing too badly at all. And I'm looking at the inside of Alonso. The door is open, but he fights back, so I'm going to try and get in his slipstream here. We saw how powerful the effect on Sato was a couple of laps ago. As we go into the last corner, another hairpin. We're going to go down the inside of Alonso. Brake. But Alonso just powers around the outside. Fair play. Quite a good move there from Fernando Alonso. And up to the finish line once again. It's a slow lap there as we did a bit of battling with Alonso in that one. But this time we are closer to Alonso than Sato. Into turn 1. Oh, dive bomb. That was a Ricciardo-esque dive bomb on Fernando Alonso. Was never going to work out. I think at that point we just realised we braked too late, but nonetheless we're still right on the gearbox of Fernando Alonso here to try and get past him. He's in a Renault. That was a pretty good car in 2004. Not quite championship winning, but it was definitely good enough for podiums throughout that season. So right on the back of him here, trying to get around this left-hander and sort of round him in some way, because I knew I was quick through this sequence, but I'm trying my best not to just run into the back of them, even though, of course, it's going to happen at times in this series. And you can see I've gone for a little bit of a grass cut there, a little bit eager turning into the corner, and a bit too much curb, then grass taken. But this battle with Alonso has now gone on for pretty much a lap, which has been really exciting here to be sort of battling so closely with the AI. But we're down the inside there, a little bit of grass. I mean, you've seen it on the channel before, but nonetheless, we get past Alonso, and now we're looking at David Coulthard for 10th place, and Jenson Button, the winner of the Australian Grand Prix last time out, is in 9th place, so he's probably not going to be leading the championship coming out of this round here in Malaysia, which is quite incredible. Now, David Coulthard is well and truly within our grasp here, so McLaren, they've sort of fallen from grace from 2003 to 2004. This wasn't a particularly good car, so round the outside of him and getting past him pretty simply wasn't really going to be too surprising. But the fact that I think Raikkonen was behind, especially in Australia, was just really weird, because Raikkonen was still doing some decent stuff in 2004, even with a pretty mediocre car. So nonetheless, a couple of laps to go here, but a really exciting one. I've really thought this race has provided us with some better racing than Australia. Australia is not especially a great track for wheel-to-wheel action, but this time we've, I think, done a better job. And round the outside, Jenson Button, the championship leader going to this round, just flying around the outside of him like he wasn't even there. So that was a pretty good overtake from me at that point, just using the AI's, I guess, deficit through high-speed corners to my advantage. Now, into the hairpin, last corner on the track. I was going to try and move down the inside of this Jaguar. Is it going to work? No. As I said, I'm really trying my best to race the AI fairer. And if you look back to some of my old PS2 and PS3 videos, I was a little bit more robust with the AI, just sort of crashing into them a lot. Okay, there's still going to be a bit here and there. It's a bit clunky, the game mechanics. You can see here a bit of wheel-to-wheel action with Christian Clean. But I'm doing my best to just sort of do a bit more practice beforehand and just make sure that I understand the game and I'm not just rushing into every corner and just trying to make the overtake here as quickly as possible. You can see that I could have maybe gone for a dive bomb on Christian Clean there, but I know that this left-hander coming up here is my prime opportunity down the inside and we get past him. So the main aim for this series is race a bit cleaner. Of course, it's not going to be 100%, you know, like real life, because let's be perfectly honest, this is not quite like real life with the floaty physics and dubious controls on my PS2 controller. But overall, a lot of fun. I still enjoy coming back here, and we're not going to catch Raikkonen on this last lap of this race. We've got our best lap time down to a 32.2. Nothing special. We were quite far off the pace in this one. Considering, you know, we look at Australia, we were off the pace, sure, but not that far off something like second place. I think second place was about 10 seconds off the lead, and we finished about 25 seconds off. Considering we had to fight our way through the pack, that's not too bad. But in this one, we felt especially slow in comparison to the top guys. But we'll look at the eventual standings at the end. Maybe we will be proven wrong. You can see in this one that Kimi Raikkonen is in 7th place. He's not doing too badly in this one. He's going to get a couple of points. We are catching him, to be fair, but definitely not enough to grab an extra point off him here. So we scored 2 points in the first round of the season. Looks like we're going to pick up another point here today in Malaysia. So I'll take that. 3 points the first 2 races. This car, as I said, only scored 9 points in real life. But as we go up to the finish line, 8th place in my Toyota, I'll definitely take that. And a nice lap to finish off there. 1:31. Olivier Panis. 2nd place again. Quite incredible, really. He leads the Drivers' Championship, which we'll come on to in a minute. But Montoya wins, so fair enough. That was a good performance from him. He was still driving the Williams at that time, obviously. But Barrichello didn't finish. Schumacher finishing behind a Minardi. I mean, you love to see it, but it's not particularly realistic, is it? Anyway, I digress. It was a fun race. We scored a point. I'll definitely take that. We weren't actually as far off the lead as I thought. We were still, I think, 25 or so seconds off, but still that's about the same as it was in Australia. And Australia felt like a bit of a better race in terms of pace. This one I was a bit worried about, but look at that. I mean, look at the top 6 in the championship. Olivier Panis, though, I don't know how many points he scored in real life, but he's already outscored the whole team's performance in the first 2 races of the season. I don't know whether Toyota were programmed wrong or something. I don't know. I definitely don't feel like the grip I had in the Ferrari when I drove it beforehand on this game. So Olivier Panis he's hacking the game. He's coming back and he wants to win this World Championship and make me look like an absolute idiot. And you can see there we are 2nd place in the Constructors' Championship behind Williams BMW. You know, just to put that into perspective, Williams BMW in the real life championship finished 4th, so they weren't too bad. You know, they finished behind Renault, BAR and Ferrari. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed this one. I'm looking forward to coming back in about a week's time for another episode. These have been so much fun to record, even if it is a bit interesting to do the races. I'll just leave that there. Thanks for watching. Have a great week, and I'll see you guys soon for another video.